we go. Gonna get everything live here. Alright. Make sure everybody's accounted for. Alright. How's everybody doing? Sorry, this is way too much energy for bedtime stories. I apologize. What I meant to say is, how is everybody doing? Welcome. Hello and welcome. I should probably plug this in before it dies. Halfway through. Alright. Hi, movie. How are you doing? It's going well. It's going well. It's, you know, been a good day. Got some things done. By that, I mean I rested, and then I did a live earlier. And now we're doing some... I know, right? Oh, you noticed? You were here for that. Kirby! How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I kept forgetting things that I needed to bring back upstairs. So we're going to be continuing reading our favorite bedtime story, Dino Rift. We left off at chapter 32. And you placed like 3 puzzles. You know what? It's not about the quantity, but the quality. And I will say, we made some corrections on the puzzle from the previous poor quality. Yeah. Let's not stay on that topic. My ears are burning. Derek, there he is. Welcome, welcome. I tried to get on earlier, but hopefully this is early enough for you. How are you doing? How's your day? Hopefully everything's going well for you. Say hello to your, what kind of lizard is it again? A bearded dragon, right? Bearded dragon, that's correct, right? I have a couple streamer friends who have similar types, and I want to make sure it's the right one. Hello, Utah. Oh, it's a puzzle. It's all about the quantity of pieces. Had a good day. Got to see a bunch of... Oh, nice. Ziggy the bearded dragon. That's right. Ziggy the bearded dragon. Yeah. She's a cutie. She's a cutie. Okay. So, without further ado, we shall be, as usual, reading through as many chapters as we can. My original goal was to read for an hour, because I was trying to be on at 9. But I'm 16 minutes late, so I'm just going to go for as many chapters as I can fit into an hour, so I can get to sleep at a semi-decent time. Friends, Count, how are you doing? Ah, always good to see you. Always love seeing you. I hope you're doing well. I hope your day is fantabulous. I hope you've had a wonderful week, and hopefully the weather is a lot better than it is where I'm at today. It was like a beautiful day for like a week and a half, and now it's back to, you know, it's only a matter of time, you know. Zoran, how are you? It's been a hot second. Good to see you. I hope your day is amazing. Alright, so as usual, we will be reading the last, like, paragraph or two of the previous chapter before we start on the new chapter. Just, you know, it's kind of like think of it like when you're watching a TV show and they have, like, a little recap previously on Dino Rift. Okay? Got my snacks. I'm ready to go. Perfect. Love it. Thank you for the... Carm, thank you for the rose, baddie, but I keep running out of things to count lately. There's always things to count. You know, it seems like I've counted everything at least 100 times. Well, how many times more can you do? Previously on. Exactly. Okay. I think I even, like, had the voice down for that even, you know? So, even my bats. Oh, do you actually have actual bats? Because that is the most... bats, well, depending on the breed, are such amazing animals. Like, seriously. The show Chuck used to say, here's some things you need to know, or maybe you just forgot. That would be for me. I still need to see that show. I've been told by many people I need to watch it since like 2009. So maybe I should get on that. As I do, don't worry, they're harmless. They won't hurt you. Oh, I'm not worried. I love animals, including cute little bats. But thank you. Okay. Previously on Dino Rift. Oh, sorry, that's not bedtime appropriate tone. Previously on Dino Rift. Due to the time she'd spent in the lab, she now realized how preoccupied she'd been as she scrolled through texts she'd missed from her assistant. L. Cook wants a 3 for deal. Velociraptors for 825k each. She answered. Need to get rid of them. Tell him, 950k and throw in a Triceratops juvie. Then she came to the latest message. Bartoloni called. We'll be arriving at 4 p.m. We don't like Bartoloni. Just update. Later that evening, she would be holding a conference call with the rest of the Sora Corps higher-ups to welcome Bartoloni into their circle. With everything else going on with the rifts, she found it difficult to pull herself away from worrying about them. Maybe there are other rift issues happening elsewhere. Should I bring it up? Hey, and she gets quite emotional concerning dinosaurs. Any animals. Even from fictional books. Alright, now we are in chapter 32. I mean, there's nothing there, but I don't know. Chapter 32. Singapore, Malaysia, present day. Stop fiddling with your seatbelt, honey. Sitting next to her son, the woman fidgeted with his seatbelt to make sure it was secure. Excuse me, please make sure your tray is in the upright position. The airline steward got the mother's attention before moving on to others. Sorry, sir, you need to remain seated at this time. Mom, I'm scared. Recalling the first takeoff he'd experienced to head to Singapore, Malaysia, the little boy disliked the thought of even looking out the window to his right. I don't want to do this. It's going to be fine, Will, his mother cooed, just like last time was fine. Out on the tarmac, the plane came to the end of its taxi drive to the main runway. A few seconds passed by until the engines fired up into the fury of propulsion. Mom! Sorry. Honey, it's fine. Little by little, the airplane pulled itself forward. Will cried out, I don't want to be here. This is the only way for us to get home, sweetie. Up in the cockpit, the pilots flicked switches and increased the speed for takeoff. In a matter of seconds, they would soon engage the wing flaps. Co-pilot Buchanan looked over to his co-worker. Should be good. All clear, responded Captain Donegan. Ahead, a blue sky with few clouds welcomed them. Grinning, Buchanan remarked, See you later, Singapore. Donegan glanced to his flying partner. Should be smooth sail. Crack! Zap, crackle, snap! Oh gosh, saw that coming. I mean, I didn't, but I knew it was too easy. As soon as he said it should be all smooth, I just knew. Also because I could kind of read ahead. Sorry, it's a relaxing bedtime story. I have too much energy for this, sorry. Smack dab in the middle of the runway, a bluish rift materialized. Scrambling to halt the air vessel, Donegan spit out. The heck is that? Are those trees? Already 3/4 of the way to hitting 160 miles per hour, they struggled to slow down the careening plane. Buchanan engaged the reverse thrusters and yanked on the brake. Oh no. Frantic, Donegan barely blinked. No, it's too soon for that. Scree crunch. Below the aircraft, the wheels snapped off. Asphalt scraped against the metal hull. The nose of the plane veered to the left. This little boy is never flying a plane again. Crackling, the rift still stood open, threatening the oncoming vessel. Inside, among the screams and panicking travelers, Will's mother threw her arms across his seat for protection. I don't think she's flying anywhere either ever again. Centripetal force sent the back end of the airplane swerving into the electric anomaly, slicing the tail just behind the last passenger's ride-off. The hunk of aircraft crashed into a bunch of trees on the other side of the rift. No! Coming to a complete stop, the right-hand side of the plane faced the strange opening. Stunning... Wait, okay, so... Is it in the rift? Like, fully? Okay, let's just keep reading. Derek, you're here. So, perfect timing. The author is right here to answer my questions. So is it in... I should just be patient and keep reading. Okay, I'll just keep reading. I get ahead of myself sometimes. Okay. Coming to a complete stop, the right-hand side of the plane faced the strange opening. Okay, just the tail end of the plane ended up going through the rift. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, now I can relax. Okay. Thank you. I started reading ahead and fast, and then I didn't catch everything, and I was trying to rush, and then I didn't get the details, and then... okay, now I can calm down and read and understand everything clearly. Coming to a complete stop, the right-hand side of the plane faced the strange opening. Stunned by the events, the co-pilot's hand shook. What do we do? Eyes on the rift, Donegan subconsciously reached for the comm. After taking a moment to gather whatever thoughts he had, he began. Folks, this is your captain. These are circumstances we've never experienced something like this before. Once he'd unbuckled his seatbelt, Buchanan stepped over to the window to get a better look. What do we even classify that as? The door to the cockpit opened, and a steward hurried in. Passengers are freaking out back there. Mayhem. Up and down the aircraft, people scrambled and shouted at each other to try and comprehend what just occurred. Will's mother kissed him on the forehead. Honey, I'm going to get your father, and make sure we're together, okay? From his angle, Will caught a glance of feet undulating past the top of the windows. Mom, something's out there. At the rear of the plane, confused passengers bickered with their backs turned to the opening. Does anyone know what that thing is? Maybe if we all sat down and calmed ourselves, we could get some... I'm trying to keep it calm and cool for those trying to rest. But there's a lot of exciting, loud sounds, so I'm trying my best to make it not very loud. Pulled out of the vessel, the man's scream got cut short as mandibles dragged him out of view to the top of the plane. Eyes wide open, the younger man staggered back. Holy jeez! He did not say jeez, by the way. Ag! A ravenous giant... it's the millipedes. A ravenous giant millipede snagged his left foot, making him stumble to the floor. Others near the back yelled in fear as they backed away. Throwing his arms behind him, the blonde became paralyzed with fear as the massive bug's legs struck him in the sides as it went for his head. No, please, someone help! Oh, calm excitement, exactly. Happy to be of authorly service. I love that. Okay. Oh, that's the end of the chapter. What happened? Okay. Chapter 33. So this is Dino Rift. Just got done, and we're now in chapter 33. I'm here now. TikTok was a bit glitchy. Oh, it was? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, welcome here. I can see the text on my YouTube live better anyways than the TikTok. So this is a book, Dino Rift by Derek Borne. It's one of two series. I don't know if it's going to have more than two or not. At present, there's only two that I know of. And Derek Borne is actually in the audience at present. He's the one that gave me permission to read his books for you guys. Oh, thank you. Video looks better on YouTube now too. Oh, it does? Okay, good. I don't know what I did differently, but yay. So I'll just read the back of it. I'm currently writing a prequel. Ooh, oh, I love prequels. Origins. Oh, so good. Okay. Yes. So, The Rift, a gateway to a prehistoric world. For years, Sorokor has kept its existence confidential while touting themselves as a run-of-the-mill dinosaur museum. For 2 Utah teens, somebody was from Utah. Who's from Utah in here? Unless they left. It's from Utah. For 2 Utah teens, Cameron and Vivian, a carefree night to themselves quickly turns into a daunting trek through an exotic, unfamiliar time. Not only do they stumble upon Sorokor's nefarious agenda, they also encounter major discrepancies concerning the past that would rewrite history books as we know them. Cam and Viv's reliance on each other through the primeval environment also tests their friendship in unexpected ways. Yeah, we know that. Will they survive and make it home? Together? That's what it's about. This is the first one in the series. He just told me that he's writing a prequel to this book. And this is the second book. If I can get it. This is the second book. And stay tuned. I do have these in my second once the prequel. Yes, exactly. Wait, this doesn't look like a bedtime story. It is a bedtime story. It's bedtime, and I'm reading a story. So yeah, once I'm done reading these, I will be having a giveaway for the copies that I read. For anybody who would like to, what's the word I'm looking for? Apply? What's the term? I'm already, my brain. Now you need to do it in the lower movie dude voice. But I'm not a dude and I don't have a low voice. That was the best I could do. Oh, it's 9:30 for me, so. Okay. So yeah, that's the book, this one. And yeah, and if you missed any of the previous chapters, I do have the previous chapters on my YouTube live still on there on my YouTube. So sleepy time. Enter. Yeah, enter. Thank you. Wow, that was difficult. Thank you, Sub-Zero. Enter. That was hard. Well, Derek gave me signed copies and I'm keeping those. These ones, they're not going to be signed by Derek. But I can sign them since I read them, I guess. But, yeah. Sorry to disappoint. The best I could do is sign it. He's a voice changer. Be entered into the contest. Yes, be entered into the contest for winning the copies that I've read once I read them. I'm a voice artist. Okay. I'm gonna just, Alright. Narrated by signature. Yeah, there we go. Narrated by. I mean, he has somebody else doing the audiobook for it. He would have asked me, he said, but he didn't know me yet. He didn't actually say that. They sound like they're amazing, though. Is the eligibility U.S. only? No, it's anywhere. I mean, as long as it's... I mean, I don't really actually know how much it costs to send books, like, in general. Didn't think about that. As long as it's not too expensive, I can't really afford anything. Like, if it's under $20 to ship, I can do that. I don't know about that, Derek. I don't know about that. Yeah. Well, depends. I don't know. If it's gonna be, like, more than $20, I probably couldn't do it. Unless you wanted to, pay for shipping, but that kind of defeats the purpose of a contest for... Yeah, I can do it, if it's, like, I don't know how much it would cost, like, for example, New Zealand. Car might know. Blake Lively, hello. The U.S. has a book rate. Oh, it does. Okay. I actually, I haven't even looked into that, but yeah, as long as it's not like too expensive, I can do it. Yeah, I'll look into it. I mean, I can't imagine it'd be like more than $20 to send a couple of paper books. You'd have to put YouTube narrated by. Don't want to irk my audience. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would not want to say narrated by because you already have somebody, and I'm, in the work I do with modeling and acting, giving proper credit is very good etiquette that I like to make sure is properly accredited to those who do the work. Happy birthday, little Blake. Thank you. Hello. I came here nightly. I come here nightly just for the laughs. Thank you. All right. Yeah, YouTube narrated by that works. Yeah. All right. So let's go on to chapter 33. Hello, Dino Sis. Hello, bro. Welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining. I see the cat wall is up. Congrats. Yes, thank you, Doorman. It took a moment, but it is up and works great. Once Keto realizes I'm upstairs for longer than 5 minutes, he will be up here shortly. I'm sure. All right, chapter 33. How much farther do we have to go? Vivian fought to keep her leg muscles engaged. Considering she'd swam for her life earlier, and now trekked with the ex-Soracor bigwig. Exhaustion became harder to ignore. Sebastian leaned his head side to side. 10, maybe 15 minutes. Up ahead of them, Nandy still trotted and sniffed different areas of the forest. Oh, I just realized, Derek, is Nandy based off of Your Bearded Dragon? Just wondering. Okay, sorry. Stuck with the man, a somewhat reluctant Viv tried some conversation. So, what makes someone decide to get into the dinosaur business? Without looking at her, he coughed before answering. Money. I was gonna say that before it even said it. It's always either money or control or both. I'm back. Good catch. Yes. Okay. I pay attention. I notice things. Sometimes. She snorted. Oh yeah? How much would it cost me to buy a T-Rex? Giving her half-amused grin, he raised an eyebrow. With the discovery of their population being in what we call a common category, highest they'll go for is just under 2 million. The number made her whistle. Only 2? Unfortunately, that's out of my bank account's range. He shook his head. Soracor does take payments for... That's funny. I read ahead, sorry. He shook his head. Soracor does take payment plans. Hard pass. Something he'd mentioned earlier nagged her to expand on it. Common category, huh? What would a super rare dino be? By this point, Sebastian came to a stop and rubbed his calves. Based on notes from the Archaeological Society and what's discovered thanks to the rift, with his left hand he stuck his fingers out in succession. Giganotosaurus. Bigger than a T-Rex. A Rex. Abelisaurus, also a cousin of the Rex. Pistachio! I'm just kidding. Psittacosaurus, an herbivore with the weird turtle-ish head. Ooh, I love that one! And side tusks, and a frill coming out of its tail. I'd say those are the top 3. And the cost of just one? He counted in his head. Unless we find more, pretty close to a hard billion. Ooh! Vivian's jaw dropped wide open. The sheer amount of casualness in his tone made her almost livid. If that isn't repulsive trafficking, I don't know what is. Yeah. Sebastian closed his eyes, letting guilt trickle in. Other than making things comfortable, it paid my lawyer bills. A callous exterior overtook him. But since my ex-wife knew how much I was worth, she became an extortionist when it came to joint custody of the kids. Sorrow seeped from his voice, tugging on Vivian's empathetic strings. It reminded her of how Cameron... Touché. I've seen one. Talk about writing his books and how he would write his villains. He would always say, when a villain has the right backstory, even they have the chance of winning your heart. I won't be tricked. I won't be tricked. I've seen enough narcissists in my day. I know better. I hope. He would always say, oh yes, I read that. But I won't bore you with all that. The more Sebastian spoke about it, the more he didn't want to. To be stuck with a teen girl in the time where she'd made his To be stuck with a teen girl in the time where he'd made his livelihood was the last thing he'd anticipated. So, you and the guy, how long have you two been going out? Haven't started. She wanted to keep things on that front brief. And I'm not about to talk to you about my love life either. Near exasperation, he caught sight of Nandy picking up speed as it neared a small clearing. There's no sign of the base. Wonder what it found. The humans left the cover of trees. Nandy had started making new friends. The Rhizinosaurus, Sebastian recalled, impressed with the number of them in the pack, also known as a lounge. The first thing Viv noticed was the 3-foot-long, scythe-like claws protruding from each of the tritheropod dinosaurs' hands. Charlie's Theron, Whatasaurus? Sebastian snort laughed. Therizinosaurus, also known as the scythe lizard. He took note of one of them in the distance, raking its sword-length claws through the ground to loosen vegetation. Then it lifted a sapling into its petite-beaked mouth to rip a stringy branch off and mow down. Guess that answers my question if they're herbivores or not. Viv took a trepidatious step forward while keeping her gaze locked on the creatures. Still wouldn't want to meet one of those in a dark alley, though. And here's the photo. I'll show you guys first. Scythe lizard, grrr. Sorry, he's starting to make more sense now. You know, it's hopeful that he has guilt. You know, sometimes people can learn and, you know, become better people, but I don't forget easily. Okay. Crackle. Viv looked down at her foot. Shards of egg. Oh, this isn't good. Sounds like you did. Shards of egg mingled with albumin and liquid embryo. One of the female Therizosauruses cocked its head, making the bristly feathers running down its neck twitch as it honked. It honks. Is it a goose? Hope now, those things are vicious. Oh no. Viv scraped the bottom of her shoe against the grass as she backed away. Sebastian followed her lead. I think you made her angry. Yeah, you just killed one of her kids. Other Therizosauruses joined in, creating a chorus of agitated bellows as they massed toward the humans. Ut-ohs. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of got that. Viv's voice grew louder as she retreated to the forest. From their rage-filled cries. One of the dinosaurs swiftly broke away from the group, whipping its lethal talons through the air at her. Viv Darvid, I was about to say, just push Sebastian down and then run. The old saying of you just gotta be faster than the slowest person. Should have used an Ultra Ball. Emotional damage soundbite when you need it. Oh, man. Okay. Viv darted behind a tree. She glanced right as a trio of claws flung at her, but only one of them tore into the bark. Before the theropod could land another swipe, she pushed forward and didn't look back. I really thought I was about to say she pushed Sebastian down. Sebastian also had been running from the creatures and had Nandy zoom past him. Thought you were supposed to be her protector. Oh, man. Behind them, Viv failed to summon more energy to keep pressing on. A few Therizinosus forces gained on her. I feel like it's getting harder to pronounce this each time. One of the scythe-like claws clipped the back of her shirt, creating a tear as she lunged through two young saplings. 2 steps after, thwack. Kathunk. Read differently. The tread of her shoe lost traction as a nefarious tree root sticking out of the ground. Leaves and dirt met Viv's left cheek. Wincing, she dug her fingers into the ground before flipping onto her back. 3 of the dinosaurs circled her, their distressed honks and screeches filling the air. The mother who'd lost her unborn young stepped forward, twitching the talons on both of its hands. It shrieked at the small human. Smack! A softball-sized rock connected with the side of the Therizinosaurus's head, making it rear back and screech at the source. Character left just was the author. There would be no characters. Oh man. I'd be like Shakespeare writing Hamlet. Everybody dies. Oh man. Side of the dinosaur's head, making its rear back and screech at the source. Hey, Sebastian yelled out before swinging a thick tree branch at one of the dinosaurs to the right. Get back! Viv looked over only to see the club getting knocked out of Sebastian's hand by the other Therizinosaurus. Her lips trembled faster than ever before. Though the animals in front of her weren't carnivores, she recognized a simple truth. Even if a creature won't eat you, it can still be dangerous, aka kill you. All of her strength drained from her muscles. Only one thing kept her will alive. Cameron's face remained a constant in her mind. As the Therizinosaurus approached, raising its deadly claws for a strike, it turned its head enough to lock its gaze with the teenager. One last reminder of its superiority, and of its primeval, unforgiving world. Vivian closed her eyes. Goodbye, Camp. Fire! Kablam. Nets entangled the first. Oh no! I'm not sure if I like this either. Nets entangled the first Therizinosaurus, sending it into disorientation as it jumbled itself within the strong webbing. Some of the dinosaurs behind the scorned mother turned back. As for Viv, she rolled onto her side to look behind her. What looked like army men held bazooka-type weapons. They'd fired the heavy-duty nets at the herbivores, while others formed a perimeter with modified rifles. At the rear of the group, Sebastian watched as they took control of the dinosaurs. One of the men, a superior, stepped out from his squad. We only need a pair of the Therizinos. That's easier to say. Let the rest retreat. As he stepped... Oh, it was the mother, too! Damn, she's having a really bad day. As he stepped toward the girl, he wore an intrigued grin. Got ourselves quite the catch today, gentlemen. I do not like this guy already. I haven't finished Hamlet yet. Alright, that's the end of that chapter. Man. Okay. So. You know, I know that the dinosaurs were about to kill her. But, I mean, at the same time, it's kind of justified. Not to say I want her to die. But it doesn't mean that the dinosaur should be punished either. You know? It didn't even actually commit murder. Yet. I'm just saying. I kind of side with the dinosaur on this one. Alright, chapter 34. I can't believe I'm doing this. Wind whipped past the sides. Oh, and that's the Wolverine of dinosaurs. I like it. I like it. Thank you for the rose. Thank you for the likes, guys. Thank you for the likes, NJ. On my TikTok, I appreciate that. It always helps to tap the screen for the likes on my lives. Wind whipped past the sides of Cameron's head. His face had been protected by Emily Ann's back, who was holding on tight to her long... Oh, that's right, they're on the back of a... Where's Toothless? Toothless. Oh, well. Okay. They're on the back of Toothless. They're flying. Okay. It was Canadian. That makes sense. Okay. Wind whipped past the sides of Cameron's head. His face had been protected by Emily Ann's back, who was holding on tight to her long-lost father. Flying on the back of a toothless species! Ah, it's Toothless, I swear! Okay. It's just, it's his name, it's Toothless. Flying on the back of a toothless species of pterosaur terrified Cam. There was no seatbelts, no complimentary drinks and snacks. And especially no on-flight bathrooms. Might need one of those soon. Hold on, kids, Theodore called back. We'll be descending soon. Keep your hands and legs inside at all times. Though excited to be experiencing a once-in-a-lifetime flight, no kidding, EA breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, thank God. For most of the ride, Cam had kept his eyelids shut. By now, he'd gathered enough courage to finally open them. A large lake could be seen off to the right, just past a wooded area of mingling coniferous and deciduous plant life. His inner child squealed as a remarkable sight graced. Yeah, I know, but he chose to. Maybe we don't know this. Maybe this dinosaur also chooses to be toothless sometimes too. You know? Oh, yeah? I'm not familiar with that one. I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar with that one. His gaze. Long necks extended past the treetops, making the trees seem tiny in comparison. Small herd of giraffe... Oh, come on. Is that actually the name? Small herd of Giraffatitan, Theo remarked. Almost like... Is that actually the name of that dinosaur, or did you just have fun with that one? Because that's just no way. Do they have, like... Do they have giraffe spots? Do they have black tongues? I guess they wouldn't know for sure. Okay. Sorry. Theo remarked almost like the captain from a plane's cockpit. On average, they can grow to about 80 feet long from head to tail. Ooh. Herds of Cam's favorite dinosaurs currently drink from the edge of the lake. Are those Triceratops? And Ankylosaurs? EA noticed the most startling of creatures not too far from the well-known herbivores. Dad, is that a Tyrannosaurus Rex? Theo grinned, giving the side of Quinley the Toothless's neck 3 pats. The creature recognized the signal to decrease altitude. From what I've witnessed, assumptions of watering hole behavior being neutral grounds doesn't apply anymore. The lake passed by as Quinley came closer to the treetops. Another 50 feet down, Cam figured he could have brushed his hand along the leafy tips. I wish Viv could be here for this. The trees came to an abrupt end. Gazing downward, Cam's stomach leaped up to his throat. A dead drop into a valley with cliffs intimidated the newcomers. As for Theo and Quinley, they didn't even flinch as they made a wide turn and headed back to the cliff face. Are we flying right at that? Kim grew fidgety. EA grimaced as his arms clenched for her torso, including her wounded rib. Tighter. Ouch. Cam, lessen the grip, dude. But we're flying right at the mountain of rock. Yes, it is. My granny sometimes chose to be toothless too. Oh my god. That's funny. I didn't know that was the name of those. That's interesting. Theo leaned into Quinley's neck for a better grip. Easy there, everyone. Just a little more and... Toothless floated upward, making itself almost vertical before it touched its feet down in the opening of a cave formation. All right, I'm going to try to pronounce this again. The Quetzalcoatlus floated upward, making itself almost vertical before it touched its feet down in the opening of a cave formation. Tucking its wings in, Quinley squawked into the rocky void, which reverberated it back at everyone. "We're home," Theo announced as he disembarked the Surian and began helping the others off Quinley. "Well, my makeshift home, that is." Cam hit the stony floor and hunched over. "Geez, that... I need more warning next time," or something churned in his stomach. "A bottle of Pepto right now." Sounds reminiscent of the great Mexican city. Oh, really? Merlin, King Arthur, some of my favorites. Ooh, yes! I do love those. Once EA's feet were on solid ground, she took in the hewn-out space. "You've been living here?" She noted the smattering of military-style lamps in a pair of large, heavy-duty cases. "And I approve of your pilfering." Theo went to rest on the edge of a man-sized bed made out of random man-made and natural materials. "Yeah, I've been able to sneak some equipment from the Soracor goons here and there." He slid his hand under some of the large leaves and soft materials he'd scrounged up. "It's the furthest thing from a motel, but it does the trick." By the end of his sentence, he'd unearthed a handgun. EA's internal picture of her father seemed to shatter in that moment. "Whoa, Dad, what are you doing with that?" "What do you mean, what is he doing? Do you read the room?" Theo glanced at the weapon before holstering it into his jacket. "You mean my protection in case Soracor ever finds me?" Chuckles came out of his mouth as he casually strolled over to one of the grayish cases. "The figured I was Quetzalcoatlus. See, you had that in your book too, and it's still a struggle. Quetzal, it sounds German. Quetzalcoatlus. Yeah, it's a Quetzalcoatlus. My kids love Dino. He would love this book. Escape. Well, if you go to my Amazon storefront, I have the first and second of Derek's books listed for sale that you can buy. And it not only will make your kitties love you, but it also helps to support our local author. And by local, I mean in the chat, because he's not local to me. So yeah. Okay. Where did I leave off? Oh yeah. They figured, oh yeah, I guess, yeah, if you go to my profile, if you go to my, I think my Amazon, no, it's not there. That's my wish list. If you go to my link tree, scroll, you don't have to go far. It will say Amazon storefront or affiliate. And you'll be able to see it. It should be the image, like the initial image, if you go there directly to my Amazon storefront. In case it's not, it should be, but in case it's not, it'll be in like the reading, like it's book related title. It's pretty easy to find, I think. Yes, in Mexican, it's Mexican Spanish. Ah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't. Okay. But that's good. That's good. That's good to know. Okay. Thank you. They figured I was as good as dead when they threw me through the rift. Since that hasn't happened, I've had the odd run-ins with them. After unclipping the rectangular chest, he pulled out a rifle. Ooh. Ah, thank you, Carm. Appreciate that. I'm sure Jess does a better job with the pronunciations that the audiobook created, right? I doubt that. Hey, we're not bashing the audiobook person. We support each other. Creators support each other. And from the sound of it, she's doing amazing, actually. So I'm actually excited to listen to it whenever it's done. But I appreciate the support. And the pronunciation's definitely sarcasm. ah, I've had the rod. After unclipping the rectangular chest, he pulled out a rifle. 5 years in a prehistoric world with people who still want you dead can change a person. Oh man, I just had a visual of that. Some of what he'd said computed in her brain, while other parts still had a rough time breaking through barriers. Guess I hadn't expected to find a different version of you. What do you mean? Of course you would. I mean, I guess you didn't realize he was alive, but I guess you don't. It would make sense. It's only logical. Theo took a good look at his daughter, left the rifle leaning against the case, and came over to place his hands on her shoulders. And you're still my beautiful, tenacious Emily Ann. I still can't believe you're here. My knitter had to work on Anthropleura and Giganotosaurus, but she eventually nailed it. Yeah, it takes time when you're doing voice acting, like narration for an audiobook. You definitely go back and forth until you get it right. It takes some time on certain things. EA looked up at him with adoring eyes. Nothing was going to stop me from finding you. A flicker of her eyelids pushed a pair of tears down her cheeks. Soracor disposal of her into the past, and the partly daunting trek intertwined with the relief of being in her long-lost father's company. Not even a rift in time and space. Over by the cave opening, Quinley the giant Quetzalcoatlus. And she switch character. Did she switch character to Toothless? Yeah, that's my version. That's special Bad Pika Pete version. The Quetzalcoatlus is now Toothless. I mean, honestly, he had a golden opportunity to nickname that dinosaur Toothless. You really did. At least tell me you thought about it. At this point, I don't know this been about how to train your trekking. Yeah. Exactly. Pretty much. I love it, man. I love it. Well, I did have my Toothless here somewhere. I don't know where I put my Toothless. Okay. Over by the cave opening, Quinley the giant Toothless had folded its wings in and tucked its pointed beak beside its core to take a nap. Aww. Meanwhile, Cam finally felt his stomach settling as he sat down and leaned against the rock wall opposite from the pterosaur. He figured EA needed this moment, so he kept to himself. Uh-oh. And then after she nailed the pronunciation, some dinosaur show changed the pronunciation, so she had to go back and read all the parts over again. Huh? Opens up a whole new audience. Exactly. Okay. Thoughts of Vivian still revolved in his mind. Is she okay? She needs to be okay. What if something got her? Before his thoughts could turn more disheartening, he remembered he had her cell phone in his right pant pocket. He pulled it out, saw it still had about 23, okay, now that Derek's here, exactly how long, guesstimation, have they been in this Dino Rift? And what cell phones do they have? Because this battery is lasting an impressively long time. These are questions I need to know. Because I don't think, I mean, at least if it has been mentioning, I don't know the time frame where we're at to figure out, like, has it been, and I'm trying to remember too, since it's been a few days between reading sections. Like, has it been a couple days by now? Because I know they had one night at least, maybe two. 10 p.m. notification, mate. Oh, what? Oh, you just got notified that I'm live. That's funny. Yeah, this is a really important question I need answers to. Because the fact that it's been at least a whole night. Like, it sounds like it's been at least 24 hours while they've been in this Dino Rift, I think, unless I'm completely mistaken. I need to know what cell phone they have. Oh, man. That's funny. He's saying it's 10. Oh, I see what you're saying. Because, yeah. Okay, you might have missed it when I said, because I started late. I was going to just go for an hour. And where's the time at? Oh, here it is. We got about 10 more minutes, so I'll probably finish this. Thank you. Yeah, I'll finish this chapter. And then we'll be done, since that'll be about an hour reading. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, because I started like 9:16, so I just was like, I'll just read for an hour, regardless of the time, just to make sure it's at least an hour time, Okay. Alright. Before his thoughts could turn more disheartening, he remembered he had her cell phone in his right pant pocket. He pulled it out, and somehow there was 23% battery left. If you're not using the phone, no data, nothing, the battery can last a decent time. That's a good point. There would be no data usage. That's a very good point. Okay. That makes sense. Because my phone does not make it for 24 hours. I'm like, what phone is this? I need this phone. But yeah, that makes sense. I wasn't, saying that it's not possible. I was just like, I'm not sure, how many days this has been. I think I was getting my length of time that they've been in here off. 23%, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. This is a 2-phone family. Okay. Yeah. I guess cell phones would last a bit longer. The battery life would last a lot longer when you're in prehistoric times. That does make a lot of sense. Alright. The first thing he did after unlocking it was snap a picture of the sleeping pterosaur. Then he took one of the glorious views from the cave's entrance. He found a measure of comfort in a shimmering river cutting between glowing greens of forest. It all stretched out until it reached the base of a short mountain range. Other flying creatures congregated in the sky off in the distance. Cam's thumb pressed a button on the lower left of the screen. The camera display swiveled over to reveal her music app. It had been paused on the song she'd played while journeying along the river. He stared at the playlist title for a good few seconds. Uh-oh! My phone dies if I don't put it in airplane mode when it can't reach showers. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. He stared at the playlist title for a good few seconds. It says Cameron with hearts and music. He recognized some of the songs, which now had a whole new meaning to him. Oh. Well, this is embarrassing for her. You're not on social media 24/7. That's how I make money. What can I say? Kiss Me Slowly by Parachute. I love how you have all these actual songs too. Kaleidoscope by A Great Big World. Love Like This by Ben Rector. Scarecrow by Alex and Sierra. I Hear a Symphony by Cody Fry. I think you said that was your friend, right? What You Do to My Soul by Air Traffic Controller. Radiate Like You Do by Arbor. In Your Arms by Keena Grannis. The last one hit home harder than the rest. Aww. At least it was all appropriate. I mean, how embarrassing would it be to be some raunchy title under his name? Whew, that would be embarrassing. Okay. Tell Me That You Love Me by James Smith. The last one hit him harder than the rest. Tell Me That You Love Me by James Smith. I came in on the snort. Man. Before now, the romantic sense of those words had seemed unfamiliar to him. With them being separated and her whereabouts unknown, he wished he could blurt them out to her. Instead, he brought the pressing matters back up. When are we leaving to find my friend? Theo heard the boy's inquiry. Give me a couple more minutes to gather some things, then we'll be on our way. Impatient, Cam stood up as he shoved Viv's phone back in his pocket. Every second we wait is a second wasted. We need to go. Now, hold on, son, Theo responded, more level-headed than the teen. Unless she falls into an arthropleura burrow. That's the one, arthropleura? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Arthropleura burrow. She'll be fine among the dinosaurs. Even then, the bugs only eat what they think is dead. By the time he finished his sentence, he picked up the rifle. If only you've seen what I've seen in these last few years. Something clicked in EA's brain. You mean the bug that attacked me was just being a scavenger? Most likely. Theo caught sight of his daughter's hands, then recalled that he had some bandage wrap in his side pouch. I walked side by side with one. Never bothered me. He pulled the wrap out and handed it to her. But laying down on the ground? That's a big mistake. All the information gave Cam a slight headache. Are you saying that absolutely nothing has carnivorous tendencies? What about recorded findings and... Let me tell you something, Cam. Theo used the rifle as a sort of cane as he stepped forward. Paleontologists have been guessing and assuming since day one. An educated guess is still a guess. When it comes to things like ancient cities, sure, you can record a lot more details because humans were there back in the day. But the dinosaur era? You can guess all you want because there's no one here to tell you that you're wrong. EA piped up. Not even early man? Theo chuckled. When it comes to them, they're not here yet, or at least I haven't found any trace of them. He leaned against the rock wall. What I have seen, and this was perception-shattering, is a brachiosaurus herd mingling with the giraffe herd over where Africa will one day be. Quinley and I took a flight over there. I've seen a tiger up close and personal with juvenile dinosaurs, and it never even took a bite to see what they tasted like. Aww, your little juvenile tigers. Aw, so cute, little kitty. Are pretty tight. Not. Oh, not. I thought you said somewhere like, or it was like a local band maybe? I don't know. I can't remember. I remember that name though. I'm back. Not. Well, maybe you will be now. Okay. Oh yeah. Mention of the animal's name got Cam excited. Like a saber-toothed tiger? Theo shook his head. Modern. Orange, black stripes. He strolled up to the mouth of the cave and gazed out over the prehistoric view. There have been so many species of birds in this time that have been living side by side with what everyone thinks dinosaurs had turned into. He sighed over the modern world views. People have been taught the wrong things for so long. Cam began pacing back and forth, which caught Quinley's attention as she woke up from her nap. But how can... That doesn't... This is hurting my brain. Sure. Even EA had been having a tough time processing her father's words. If the president even had a clue about what you're saying... It hit her. Sorokor doesn't want people to know. Exactly. Theo slung the rifle strap over his shoulder. The only truly dangerous thing in this time is Sorokor. We have one more minute until it's been an hour, and it's kind of a short chapter. Let's read it. Chapter 35. Haven't seen you out here in a while, Sharp. Keith Archer's voice was as rough as his skin. The head of the asset retrieval units, he'd seen a lot since he'd been hired by Sorokor in their infancy. But what are you doing out here in this godforsaken time with a teeny popper? Viv scoffed. I'm 18, Sergeant Boomer. There's been, inside one of the ARU's meeting tents. Sebastian had to think fast. Somehow, rifts are popping up more randomly and frequently in the present. This young woman and I were victims of this, unfortunately. That's so. Archer stood up from his foldable chair and stared Sebastian down as he paced on the tent floor. Viv and Sebastian traded subtle, apprehensive glances. That would explain why our radio connection to the present has been fairly glitchy lately. Sighing, Archer stopped right in front of a dining-sized table. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's awesome. Tech radio, maps, and dinosaur order forms on it. Ever since we sent the Scudos through the main rift, the connection's been shoddy. Sebastian tried to work out a timeline in his head. You haven't talked to anyone from HQ today? Archer tapped a finger on the radio. Affirmative. Internally, Sebastian sighed with relief. There's absolutely no way to contact the present then? Viv leaned into the accidentally lost act, though it mostly wasn't an act to begin with. But I need to get home. As the information sunk in, Archer crossed his muscular arms near the tent opening. If the rifts are misbehaving like you say, maybe we all should be trying to head home. He looked out over his men, tending to vehicles and checking on captive dinosaurs. It's about time we all got to see our families again. I'll be back. Gonna update the team. As soon as Archer left the large tent, Sebastian and Viv looked at each other and noticed tension draining from their clenched shoulders. Hate to say it, but it's a good thing the radio's down. Sebastian glared at the piece of tech. If they try to contact Soracor and mention me, they'll kill me. The severity of what he'd said made Vivian's shoulders return to their edgy position. Does that mean the same for me? A gutted Sebastian only managed a small glance into her eyes. I'm sorry. Two thought processes clashed within Viv. One side told her to curl up into the fetal position and give in. The other told her she'd come this far and there was still a chance she could get home with Cameron. The crown was pretty sweet. Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. Oh, thank you for the crown. Oh, I love that. You're awesome. Okay. After rolling her shoulders to loosen them, she stood up from her chair and took timid steps toward the command table. Off to the left, Sebastian rubbed his face with both hands, obscuring his view of her. She picked up the chair Archer had been using and sat down right in front of the radio. A quick study made her assume to flip the switch on the left-hand side of the sleek black box. Whirs and hums notified her that the radio was now operational. The odd sounds broke Sebastian from his anxiety-induced face massage. He dampened his shout as he glanced to the tent's front flaps. Viv, what do you think you're doing? She placed her fingers on dials as tremors infiltrated her reply. If there's a chance we can get home, I'm gonna take it. Her sudden choice made him rush over. Do you even know how to operate this thing? As one of her hands fiddled with dials, the other pulled a microphone closer to her mouth. Give me 5 minutes, I can probably get the hang of it. Another fast glance to where Archer had left showed Sebastian no one was there. No, leave it alone. But we need to. I want to get home to my family just as much as you do. I'm not going to sit back. But if we get caught... Whew. Heated argument. Crackles came from the radio. Alpha Team, can you read us? A feminine voice from the present came through. Alpha Team. Sebastian and Viv looked at each other with a collective, what next? The voice spoke again. Alpha Team, are you there? Taking the microphone, Sebastian pressed a button at the base to patch through. Yes, yeah, we're here. Viv kept quiet, allowing him to take over. Sorry, we haven't been able to get clear communication lately. There's been interference due to unpredictable rift activity, the woman reported. New asset orders are coming through. Is that them? Another woman's voice could be heard in the background. Some shuffling preceded the other, continuing. Archer, is that you? Sebastian tightened his throat to add more rasp. Yeah, it's me. Viv nearly snort-laughed before whispering. That impression sucked. This is Felicia. As soon as she uttered her name, Sebastian winced. We have some updates for you of different nature, Felicia carried on. Business-like in a delivery. Recently, we've had 4 inconveniences that we've had to rectify. They've been disposed of through the rift. 2 of them are teenagers, another is the daughter of Theo. If they survive so far and you come across the teens, bring them back through, as it will help put out some potential fires on our end. Flabbergasted, Viv's jaw dropped wide open. Should you find Miss Lewis, take her out. Felicia cleared her throat. As for the 4th individual, unfortunately we had to dispose of one of our own. She paused again, taking a deep breath. If you come into contact with Sebastian Sharp, you have orders to execute him. All Sebastian could do was sit there in silence. Sorokor had left him to die in the prehistoric wilderness. Now they had just put a hit on his head for added insurance. Viv didn't say a word either. She learned so much about him in the last half a day. He'd displayed remorse for what he'd done to them. He had kids which he yearned to return to. Earlier, he'd shown courage when trying to fend off the deadly herbivores. Her silent, caring look told him, "You're coming with us." Archer? Felicia's voice pulled them out of their thoughts. Archer, do you comply? Sebastian opened his mouth. A response failed to materialize. Archer. Loud and clear, Miss Voorhees. Sergeant Archer strolled through the front flaps with a wry grin. And I've got Mr. Sharp right in my sights. Well, that was an inconvenient time. Sorry, it's kind of hard to so essentially he was pretending to be Archer, and then when Sebastian didn't respond and Felicia kept saying, Archer, do you comply? And then Sebastian opened his mouth, but a response failed to materialize, and she said, Archer. And then Archer came in and said, loud and clear, Miss Voorhees. Sergeant Archer strolled through the front flaps with a wry grin. And I've got Mr. Sharp, Sebastian, right in my sights. What? Okay. You know what? I think we need to read just one more chapter. Yeah, one more chapter. Because it's continuing. Chapter 36. Archer had 2 of his men accompany him as he dragged Sebastian out of the command tent. Thought your story seemed a little odd. He kept a hand on his captive's arm while carrying a rifle in the other hand. We'll spare the girl from seeing your death. Leave him alone. Vivian, although restrained at her wrists by zip ties, hopped up from her chair. Archer barked at one of his men. Harris, keep her quiet. He tried to save my... Viv managed to get out before one of the Sorokor operatives zipped the tent flap shut. Life. Sebastian stared at the ground as they led him through the center of the campsite. You don't understand. Sporadic rifts are popping up and creating mayhem. That's so, Archer stated, unconcerned as he kept walking. Frustrated, Sebastian tried to wrestle his arm free. The more Sorokor keep bringing dinosaurs to the present, the more they're messing with time-space energy. Still nonchalant, Archer kept staring straight ahead. Of course they are. Now how about you shut... Sebastian got yanked back a step. His arm had still been in Archer's grasp, who had stopped in their boot tracks. One of the accompanying men spoke up. Something out there, sir? Pointing his rifle at a portion of the brush, Archer took wary steps. Keep your heads up. We've got Swish, stuck. A sleek beast exploded out from the bushes, knocked into Archer, and kept careening through the campsite. One of the men cursed under his breath as he helped his superior up from the ground. You all right, sir? Was that a damn Utah raptor? Archer brought his weapon back up and spun around to check everything. They're back again? Bro. Yes. The chilling cry came from the left, a different angle from where the first dinosaur spooked them from. Cow, cow. Everyone turned right, another hidden cry. Wind picked up from an unseeable force, making every tree in the vicinity sway and add more ambiguous intensity to the situation. On full alert, Archer shouted, "Centralize!" Most of the Saurocorp's ARU team convened in the middle of the site, rifles up and ready for anything. You know, I'm realizing in the story that pretty much, as always, men, human beings, just ruin everything, and everybody, all the dinosaurs and all the animals were nice and peaceful, didn't kill anything, until men came and ruined it all, as usual. Sleep, have a great night. And Hot Cliffhanger's chapter ending, right? I know, right? It's bedtime after this then. Okay. I couldn't help it. I mean, I'm not the one who wrote it. Blame Derek. Good night, Derek. Oh, man. Rifles up. Oh, wait. Most of the Saurocorp ARQ team convened in the middle of the site, rifles up and ready for anything. They all kept tight formation like elephants protecting their young. Off on the west side of camp, one of Archer's men exited a tent with a handgun and looked to the left. He glanced to the right. A lethal reptilian face hissed through its sneer. His back hit the ground as he let out a scream. Archer tensed even more as the cry sent shivers down his body. Dear God. Terrified yells came from another direction. Gunshots erupted from behind him. What? Archer realized one of his close men had fired. What'd you see? Some raptor of some sort. Archer's eyes flared open. We're under attack. Well, what did you think was gonna happen? Honestly. Surprised it didn't happen sooner. Stuck in the tent, Viv heard the stationed guard leave his post. Now's my chance. Recalling a video she'd watched, she raised her zip-tied wrists in the air, then whipped them downward as hard as she could. Snap. Ow, jeez. Pain aside, she'd freed herself. She shot across the tent and came to the front zipper. Tentative, she considered her options while reaching down for the heavy-duty slider tab. Do I make a run for it? Do they still have Sebastian? Something whooshed past the tent's entrance. Viv pulled her hand back as a rushing creature's shadow cast onto the left side of the structure. It bared sharp teeth and large curled talons on its feet. Oh God, she gulped. Raptor. Rustling came from the front. The zipper ascended at a slow and ominous pace. Viv backed up as her nervous breaths raced. The chair she'd been sitting in impeded her backtrack, tripping her to the floor. Zip. She threw her arms over her head. Footsteps entered the space. Vivian? It took her a moment to recognize the voice before she uncurled her body and looked back. Cameron! Both of them ran toward each other and collided into an embrace. Tension flowed in and out of them as they hugged tighter than they'd ever done before. In that moment, the prehistoric world and everything Saurocorp melted away into nothingness. Cam loosened his arms a tad. He had repositioned his hands to cradle her face in his palms. Subconsciously, he brushed his thumbs against her temples. It helped solidify that he wasn't imagining anything. I'm sorry I couldn't hold... Cam, it's okay. She countered as tears dribbled down her cheeks. All the worries she'd had since they'd lost each other didn't matter anymore. You found me. Her tears made him well up in response. I would have searched all of Pangea to find you. Aww. Sweet. Their eyes locked. It was as if they had entered a rift where time stopped completely. Oh, goodness gracious. Cam angled his head slightly to the right as he grasped at her back. Viv lost control of her feet as her toes pushed her face closer to his. Both of them had closed their eyes, but when their noses grazed each other's, they opened their opened their smiling eyes for a mere second. Her cheeks were tickled by the heat in his breath as if it had hands of its own pulling her. Is this a romance novel? I don't see Fabio on the front. Oh, man. Her cheeks were tickled by the heat in his breath as if it had hands of its own pulling her in even closer. His upper lip connected with the soft skin just above hers. Oh, let me read this differently. Hold on. I'm failing at this. Hold on. Her cheeks were tickled by the heat in his breath, as if it had hands of its own, pulling her even closer. His upper lip connected with the soft skin just above hers. This is it. He leaned in more as she clasped onto his biceps. Sorry. I love her. What the heck's going on in here? Whew. That was close. A strong grip hauled Cam away. No! Viv tried to cling to him before Sorokor, employee, restrained her arms. No, stop it. Let us go. Archer returned the teenage boy around to get a better look at him. Trying to beat some knight in shining armor, kid? Maybe. Cam went into defensive mode. Are you trying to be idiots? Spineless dinosaur traffickers definitely fits the bill. A cynical chuckle left Archer's mouth. Idiots, maybe, but spineless? He opened the front tent flaps. Tell that to your friends that we just caught. As unconscious Quinley lay flat on the ground as Sarah Corbin restrained her the best they could. Come on! Off to the side, EA and Theo had been apprehended with security keeping close tabs on them. Sorry, Cam, EA called over, disheartened. We tried. And that's the end of that chapter. It's only 17 minutes after the hour. It's a little longer of a chapter. Okay, that's where we end. I'm not happy about this. I hope you guys liked my romance novel narration there. Alright, it's time to go to bed, I suppose. Big day tomorrow. Oh man, no evidence of growth. Alright, thank you as always. You guys are amazing. That was a good just chunk of chapters that we read. I'm excited for the next one. Maybe if I have enough energy tomorrow after I do everything, I'll be able to read some more. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully I get some good sleep. But it's going to be a busy day tomorrow. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. And, yeah. Make sure, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. So you can make sure you catch the next chapters that I read. All right. Definitely had some great energy. Exactly. Yeah. Alright, good night, everybody. Good night. Good night.